After viewing the APIs, the next item that we want to address is creating an addressable. This is the first step in adding a device to EdgeX. In the Collections tab, where the filter is, if you will type in /addressable. This will narrow down the options on the left-hand side here. The first thing you want to do is go ahead and click Post Addressable, and then click on Body. In this area, you'll want to modify some of the contents of this file, and some of the contents are not required. The first section that I'll go in here and modify is the name. I've already created a name, so I'm going to enter in mine. You can choose any name that you would like. A side note here is that as we continue to go through the next steps, you'll want to make sure that you do not use the same name twice, and after you do this once or twice, you may kind of come up with a naming scheme, but I think you'll find that I'm using one, and that's not the one that you necessarily have to use. So I'm going to leave the word address there and go ahead and enter in the name that I've chosen. So mbus RTH LCD address. Then for protocol, because we're adding a Modbus device, we're going to get rid of HTTP and we're going to add in the word other, and all the letters need to be capitalized. Then we move on to address, and the address is actually a mixture of items. The first thing that we do is we enter in the device location. In our case, we're using a native serial port, and that device can be accessed through /dev/tty_s5. After that, however, you want to enter in a comma, and then you want to enter in the baud rate, which would be 19200. And then after that, you would enter in the data bits, 8, the stop bits, 1, no spaces by the way, and then you want to enter in the parity. In my case, it was none, which is 0. If your parity is odd, it is 1. If it is even, it is 2. For port, because we are using the term other, and this is a Modbus device, port does not need to be modified and it can be left alone. You will, however, need to edit path. And path is what we use for the slave ID for Modbus. Many devices come pre-programmed. You need to check your device and see what the default address is. In the case of my device, the default address was 254, and I will enter in that now. With that, we are done modifying this particular setting. We're going to go ahead and press send. You know that if your command is completed successfully, if you see a random number generated down here in this dialog box, in this case it says that there's an issue. If I look at this particular item here, what I can see is that it looks like I am missing a comma. So if I put a comma in there and I put in another parentheses, I believe we'll be okay. And yes. So be sure and watch your dialog box. That will tell you if there's an issue. If you see a number like this displayed after you press send, then you know that your command was completed successfully. If not, then you'll see an error, and that should give you an idea of what needs to be looked at.